Hello people, I'm making a little teaser video here on film cameras, collecting. If you're into film photography, if you grew up like I did with film photography and cameras, and maybe when you were a young kid back in like the early 1970s, you used to look at those magazines, Popular Photography or Modern Photography, and you read those reviews, like, oh, that's the ultimate, that's the camera I really want, when I grow up. Kind of like when you looked at a car magazine, when you saw that Porsche or something. Yeah, of course I don't have a Porsche yet, maybe one day, but I do have a lot of cameras. Um, Ones that I always wanted. But the purpose of this video is I want to get people excited or re-excited about film photography. Now, like I said, I grew up with film cameras and photography. Um, I am 54 years old. I just turned 54 with like last week in the making of this video. So I grew up with this, and but I also, in the last maybe 10 years, I did get into digital, but I didn't really drink the digital Kool-Aid, I guess, that the uh, photo industry wants people to do. Even they're kind of suffering now with the advent of these smartphones that have cameras that are capable of, 28 megapixel or whatever, but just having a smartphone camera or a digital camera is not going to make you a great photographer. If people still, if they really want um, images that are going to last, that they don't have to worry about the means of reproduction becoming obsolete or their hard drive crashing and losing images. Um, Digital has that problem. It's only as good as the means of reproducing that computer file into that image that you think is permanent. Um, that's why I like to talk of film, because when you take pictures with a film camera, sure, you have to buy the film, but I think in the long run, film photography is still cheaper, and as far as time goes, it's a lot less hassle. Um, if you really know how to use your camera, film camera, when you take a picture, you know it's going to turn out. If you know how to use your camera, um, you know it's going to turn out. I have the luxury of I live literally just like a 30-second walk away from a Walgreens store that still does C41 developing, so I can literally take a roll of film there, say in the morning, and have it pictures back in like the afternoon. I'm even going to show you a few pictures that I took with one of these cameras that I showed in a past video. But this is kind of a teaser. I'm just going to show you a few things that I've been able to find recently, and that's basically what this series is going to be. I'm going to focus on an individual camera, and it's going to be a lot better, I hope, than a lot of these camera videos that maybe you've surfed and looked at. I'm not knocking other people, obviously. I think more is better, but I'm going to assume that you already know the basics of film cameras. I'm going to focus on the aspect of someone who is maybe looking for a specific camera that I'll show you what you have to do to take it, say, from an eBay purchase or other online retailer, or better yet, if you find it at a thrift store like a Goodwill or an antique shop. So I'm making it from the aspect of you finding this at maybe a Goodwill at a very good price, hopefully. And that's another thing too. I'm not going to tell people, if I find some super bargain, I'm not going to brag about it here, because I don't want the thrift stores to say, hey, we're pricing this stuff way too cheap. Let's jack up our prices. Then it's not going to be worth it. Okay, it's worth it to find it at a thrift store at a cheap price, and then to actually, you know, do some reconditioning if it probably will need it. Things like light seals, things like that might need attention or redoing, might need a good cleaning. And I made videos on that. I made a video on my channel called Evaluating and Cleaning and Reconditioning Classic Cameras. You might want to check that out. But that's what the focus of this video is about. No pun intended there with the focus, but that's what I want. I want people to find stuff, hopefully, and use it. Not people who think they just find something and just want to flip it on eBay for a quick profit. And I mean, sometimes you can find some deals on eBay and other sites, but you know, unless you're buying it from someone who has actually used the stuff or actually cares about, you know, photography, maybe they've owned this camera for many years and no one else in their family wants it or something, you know, and they'll put it up there hopefully for a reasonable price, then yeah, then eBay is a good source for getting equipment to use if the price is right. I have something on a bookshelf here real quick. I'm just going to take it down. I just thought of this at the moment. But this is a fantastic book if you can find it. It's an expensive book, but if you're serious into collecting and using vintage cameras, I recommend a book like this. It's the McKeon's book. And I think this was the last edition from like 2005, 2006. And you can see I think it run you like maybe like $90 or $100, but it's just chock full of history and information there. So let's say you found a classic camera and you don't know anything about it. You need some kind of a owner's manual. Another good source, a really good source for manuals, there's a guy named Mike Butkus, and he has a site called Orphan Cameras. I think he also has a site called butkus.org, and it's spelled B-U-T-K-U-S, kind of like Dick Butkus, the famous Chicago Bears football player. But anyway, I've gotten so many manuals from this site. I'm just going to show you real quick part of one here. This binder, I have like several cameras manuals. I'll just show you like the title page here if I can find it. Yeah. See, like one I'm going to show you in this video is this one, this A3000. And you can download it and save it to a PDF, you know, these manuals. And it'll tell you detailed information. I'm also going to give you, in these videos, like I said, I find these cameras, and like one of the first things you probably want to do is you want to find out if it has it's probably either a manual or a program kind of electronic shutter camera, which takes specific batteries. Sometimes you'll find an older mechanical camera with a matched needle metering system that takes the older mercury batteries, and I'll show you, since mercury batteries are kind of like obsolete and they're not really used anymore, they're not really available anymore, there are alternatives to that. You can use like a certain size of a hearing aid battery, and you can use certain kind of ways of spacers to like make those work in the battery compartment, things like that. And I'll be more specific in these videos with each camera that I show you. Let me have a little swig of this here. But I'm just going to show you real quick some of the stuff I picked up recently. And just about most of these I picked up at a Goodwill near me, and some other things off a website. And a nice thing about maybe you find a camera really good price, then you can go on like eBay or other sites, and you can find accessories, things like flash units, cases, stuff like that. So I'll just kind of show you real briefly. These are things I'm going to show you in more detail in subsequent videos. So let me just change seats here, and we'll start the show and tell. Okay, the first thing I want to show you is the I found this at a Goodwill, and they have kind of a little plastic, or not plastic, I'm sorry, a glass kind of display case there where you have to ask a clerk or whatever for the key, and they'll open it up and they'll, you know, let you look at the stuff. Although some of these other cameras I found they was not in like a display case. It was like right on a shelf, you know, so you didn't have to ask. I don't know who makes that decision, if they don't know what is more valuable or not. But anyway, I got kind of excited when I saw this. And this is the box and everything it was in. But you can see it says a Praktica, and see the price. $19.99. So I took it out of the box. First of all, the case is in fantastic condition. Although the strap was so old, it's almost like petrified leather here. In fact, this part of it broke off here, so I'm going to have to devise something to attach a strap. But anyway, this is a Praktica FX3, and I'm just going to take it out of the case here. And from my research, Praktica, this was some of you know Prakticas, if you collect cameras from the Pentagon era, or I'm sorry, did I say Pentagon? Yeah, Pentagon. This is from the KW era, and this was widely exported, even to the U.S., to Western Europe. These were made in Dresden, which was East Germany. And this was it even says on the camera, I don't know if you can see it, it says USSR occupied. But anyway, I mean, you're getting kind of like, you're getting that 1950s German quality, you know, equivalent. Maybe it's not equivalent to like a Leica M series, which have been like highly collectible, and prices been very high prices for many years, almost from the beginning. But anyway, this is a classic manual camera. In fact, it doesn't even have a accessory shoe, so I can't even. It doesn't even have a meter. To use a meter, I'd have to use a separate handheld meter here. But as you can see, it has a kind of a open up. It doesn't have a pentaprism with it. You can get an accessory prism, although it also opens up. It has this little like sports finder, so you can use it at eye level as a sports finder. Lens is a screw mount type lens. It has like an automatic diaphragm. I haven't really played around with this yet. I haven't shot a film with it yet. I have downloaded a manual for it. You can see what great condition it's in. All the coverings. I mean, it's almost like mint condition. It's pretty impressive, I'd say. And another cool thing, it came in this box. It has this little kind of like a field manual, and it has like so much information here, and it has these little kind of like wheel things that you can calculate exposure. So if you really develop that intuition for reading the light, you can just dial in, take this with you and dial in and get an idea of what to set your manual shutter speed and lens openings to. So that's briefly showing this one, the Praktica FX3 here. Very cool deal for 20 bucks. You got to admit it. Okay, the next one I want to show you here is a Pentax Spotmatic. I had come across a Pentax Spotmatic SPF at an antique shop, and this thing has been sitting on a shelf for like weeks and weeks, and I didn't really want to buy it at first, and I finally did because it was only like, I think it was like $25, because I guess the battery compartment was like corroded shut. Well, I was able to get it open, and I found out the battery compartment was probably damaged by a past user, and so the meter was non-working. I tried, and in retrospect, I tried to rig up like a piece of wire into the battery compartment from the electronics or whatever of the circuitry or whatever, but I still couldn't get the meter to work with a good battery. So I ended up redonating that body, and I went on eBay and I bought this body, and but I kept the lens off that old camera, so I'm going to show you real quick. And I bought this body from a eBay seller that was an actual brick and mortar camera store, and they had guaranteed the meter working, and the light seals were redone. Although to be honest, it didn't look nearly this good. It didn't have this Pentax lens cap on either. I bought this separate, but oh, it didn't have the case either. I bought the case separate later. But I did a lot of cosmetic work on this, because you gotta realize that I would recommend at eBay to buy something from a reputable seller, especially like a camera store, because they're going to stand behind, you know, what they sell. And for them, if they probably got this camera for next to nothing, and they probably checked the meter and they checked the shutter speeds, they did all the important mechanical checks, but they're not going to spend like hours and hours, you know, carefully doing touch-up painting to this or whatever, which is what I ended up doing. I ended up cleaning it and stuff like that. In fact, this bottom, I actually ended up repainting this. I took the bottom plate off and I spray painted this. Actually, I ended up spray painting the bill. The battery cap should have been left chrome or whatever, but I actually sprayed that over too. But I have a fresh battery in here. I know this works. I have a film in here too. I haven't started my first roll shooting it, but the reason why I bought this body and kept the lens, because this lens is a really great lens. It's a super multi-coated Takumar lens. I mean, Asahi had Takumar lenses, and they're well known for their high quality, especially back then, because this is all metal. This neural area, this is machined metal. There's no plastic, there's no rubber on here. It's all metal, so it's really built to last. And the nice thing about these Spotmatics, you can use modern batteries with these. It's a special size, so that it's hard to, you have to probably special order it. I'll go into more detail when I make a specific video about this camera. But these are very, very widely liked, because the circuitry, the meter circuitry in here has a special way of stepping down the voltage so that modern batteries, silver oxide batteries, can be used. It used to use a mercury type battery, but you can use a modern battery that should last probably several years, you know, if you don't leave the camera on there or something accidentally. So that is a quick look at this Spotmatic here with that case. Like I said, I bought the case. I bought that case separate. And to go with that, I actually went on the Goodwill website, and I bought this telephoto lens, which is also a vintage. It's probably the same vintage as the camera. It's also a super Takumar multi-coated. Like I said, this is all metal. There's no, this is, you know, all metal, no cheap plastic or nothing. Comes with this shade that screws on here too. So that's a very cool find. I got a good price on it, even including the shipping. Okay, the next one I want to briefly show you is this is a Pentax ME Super, and I bought this body off of eBay for a very, very good price. I already had a lens. Actually, I already had a lens, and I bought another ME Super from Goodwill, the same Goodwill, for like, oh, I think it was like $15, but the actual camera was all jammed up. But it had a really good lens on it. It had the lens that I ended up putting on here, which is a this is a 1.7. The one I originally had was a f2 lens, so it was a little slower. So I took the lens off that other one. I ended up redonating that body, that non-working body or whatever, and I took the lens off that. I had another lens that I put on that body, so maybe someone else can screw around with it, get it to work or whatever. But this Emmy Super is a really nice, I think, really nice camera. It's an electronic shutter type camera, program type camera. I love the solid feel to it. It's actually kind of small. To me, I like bigger cameras personally, but this is really compact. It's not all metal. It's got some plastic. I think this cap, the outer body cap here, I think is like a plated plastic, but it looks like a really high quality. It has a very solid feel to it. It's relatively light, but it's not too light. It's like like I said, it has a very quality mechanism to it, and I think I really enjoy using this camera. I haven't shot a film through it yet. I have one in now. So that's the Emmy Super, and I bought this case separate. Although these cases, these vinyl cases, Pentax cases, are kind of crappy. They kind of crumble and break down, I think, over time. So that's about the only drawback there. So that was the Emmy Super there. Okay, the next one I want to show you, this one is in the exact shape I found it. This is also at a Goodwill. This is a Pentax A3000. And see, I still have the price on it. It's about the price of what, a fast food meal. This is also kind of like a program type, electronic shutter type camera. Basically like a point and shoot. So if you grew up with like digital cameras or digital photography and you want the simplicity of a point and shoot, but you want the quality of film, this might be a really good good choice for you if you find one. Another nice thing about this one, it just uses regular AA batteries, and it's a, you know, it's a motor drive camera there. Although what's a little interesting about this, it'll advance the film motor wise, but then when you finish a film, you have to wind it back manually. But nice thing about this Pentax, it takes the K-mount lenses. In fact, it takes the same kind of mount as the Emmy Super that I showed you there. So your choice of looking for lenses is should be very, very easy with a camera like this. Another nice thing, you can get a flash unit that will be completely dedicated to this camera. That means you can basically, it's taking pictures with the flashes as easy as daylight. And I got this, it's an AF200, I think it's called SA. And all you have to do is attach it, put it on auto setting, and you can take flash pictures that are like foolproof as far as exposure goes. You don't have to worry. You know, like I said, if you're used to digital or whatever, you grew up with digital, So there's not much of a change. There's no estimating or having to fiddle with those things like dials and things on the back of a flash unit to set film speed and things like that. So that's a quick look at this Pentax A3000. Now here's something that I got just today, or the day that I'm making this video. And at first I wasn't going to pick it up, but then the price was so attractive, and the condition appears to be in like fantastic condition, and it's in a bag with the manual, and it's just, it was too good to pass up. If you can see here, it's a Rico, some kind of program. It's probably like the equivalent of like a Canon AE1 program, or that Pentax A3000 that I just showed you. But I got it for like, maybe you can see it's like 10 bucks. In fact, I'm just going to open it up right now. They put it in a bag, a plastic bag here, which actually is not a very good idea because you don't want condensation to form in a bag like that and affect the camera. But it has a motor drive. See, I think this comes off here, and so you see it has a manual advance, but it has this motor drive that you can attach. And just looking at it for the first time, man, it looks like it's in fantastic condition. And the reason why I was kind of reluctant at first to pick it up is because, well, for one, I have too many cameras. I have so many cameras here that some of these I'm eventually going to try to resell on, maybe locally on Craigslist, once I know they all work, which ones I want to keep or whatever. But if you know cameras as well as I do, something like a Rico, the lens mount is kind of like a proprietary lens mount. It's not nearly as common as like a Pentax K mount or a Canon FD type lens, which I have a lot of. I have several Canon cameras. I'm not going to show them in this video, but let's just kind of look at the lens here. This is like an aftermarket lens here that's like 35 to 70. Kind of good for all around like daylight picture taking, I guess, like 2.8. But viewfinder is really nice. It's got like a split prism there, so should be very, very cool. There's no dust or specks of crap in the viewfinder there. So I don't know about construction. This is probably made in the mid 1980s, so it's like, I don't know, it feels like plastic. It's relatively light. I mean, to me that's kind of a drawback, but you know, if you spend a lot of time in the field with the camera, you might, you know, hanging around your neck, you might want something like this. But for $10, I guess I just could not pass this up. So this I'll eventually, you know, learn to use this one, run a film through it, make sure it works. So okay, I'm going to show you one more, and I'm going to show you maybe a couple pictures. And like this is a Pentax K2, and this one I've shown in past videos. One was called A Week of Thrift Store Cameras, where I found this and it was in pretty poor condition. And then I did a video featuring this one called the reconditioning of classic cameras, where I had to do a lot of thorough cleaning. I also I've sent away for a light seal kit from a place called US Camera, where they have pre-cut little foam pieces or whatever for the light seal, and like the little mirror bumper there. So where is that one here? I had it on the floor here. Here it is. And I bought a case for this that isn't really specific for this camera. I bought a Spotmatic case because these Spotmatic cases were so well made. They're real leather. I mean, they're just fantastic cases. But the bottom, in this one, the bottom screw-on tripod holder thing does not line up with this camera. But it fits. So I kind of like had to remove that screw holder there and used it with another camera that was actually missing that exact part. So I actually put that to good use. But this is a camera, like I said, I took this from a thrift store find where it was in pretty rough shape, pretty dirty, had some corrosion and things, and I completely went over it thoroughly. Takes relatively easy to find batteries, and I shot one roll, and it was fantastic. The quality is fantastic. If you know about the K series cameras, many people are familiar with the K1000. The K1000 is kind of like the Honda Civic. This is more like an Acura. If you think this is like more like the top line of the whole K series, it was actually the original K series camera. And when I mean K series, I mean the original bayonet mount K mount lenses. This was the first camera that took those lenses. The Spotmatics were these screw mount lenses, but this was like the successor to the screw mount cameras from Pentax. So, but just a fantastic camera. It's just, I only used it on the automatics so far, but it's like just the pictures turned out perfectly. I just want to show you real quick. Like I said, I can shoot a film and take it over to Walgreens. They still sell some film there. They only sell like Fujifilm 200 and 400 print film there. But at least I don't have to send away. I mean, I've sent away to different stores for better films, I guess. But for testing cameras, it's like you can't beat something like that. Run a film, go to some event or whatever, and you don't want to go to like a family reunion or some special once in a lifetime event if you're testing a camera for the first time. You want to make sure that it works, you know, really well. But anyway, like I said, I went to shoot this first one. I'll just show you a couple of pictures, and in a short period of time, I tested like 9 cameras so far, 9, and that's maybe only a third of what I have, cameras I have right now. But I made sure that I knew what film or what camera I was shooting. Like I took a picture into the mirror of me shooting this camera, so I know it was the Pentax K2. And I went to a car show. I like going to car shows to test cameras because you have all the colors and things of the cars. You have a subject that's easy to focus on, and you can see the detail in the cars and things like that. But here's just one of the pictures here of this old, I think it's a Cadillac, right? Yeah, it's a Cadillac. But look at that. Look how sharp that is. And I was able to, like I said, this camera was easy enough to use where I could like raise it to my eye, focus, push down the shutter, make sure that it was metering correctly, and then take the picture in like 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds tops. And that's what you should do. You should learn a camera so well that you can just take it and shoot, especially when you're taking pictures of people or whatever. I don't know what your expertise is, if you shot, you know, film cameras before or whatever, or cameras in general. But that's just like a quick, probably this video went quite longer than I meant it to go, but that's just a sample of some of the stuff I have, and I'll go into much more detail when I make separate videos of separate cameras. So I hope you got something out of this. I hope you I hope you got a little more excited about looking for some, you know, cool film cameras. As you can see, like I said, the ones I've shown, they're kind of like from one extreme to the next. Like the Praktica. The Praktica is almost like an antique, but it's still usable because it's a 35mm camera. I mean, you can still get film for this. You can still use this. You could learn how to use it by estimating, or you can buy a separate light meter for more precise exposure. But this is like the extreme of the basics, where there was no batteries. It's fully manual, fully mechanical. And then at the other extreme of a 35mm SLR, you have something like this, where it was like automatic everything. So, you know, the choice is yours. You can, you know, like I said, I hope you got something out of this video, and I hope if you don't subscribe, if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And with that, I'll let you go, I guess. So until then, I hope you have a nice day. And like I said, you know, go to Goodwill, and you got to really comb those shelves. I know a lot of times I come across, I'll do a double take and I'll see something hidden behind something else, and sure enough, it'll be some cool camera there. So with that, thank you for watching. Bye for now.